Hello and welcome everyone. I recently played in my first ever live Backgammon tournament, and it was a blast. I enjoyed moving checkers on a real board and enjoyed the format. Enjoyed it so much in fact that I decided to make a video about it. And you can't say that on many formats. Not that it was anything special. 5 rounds of Swiss to whittle down 64 hopefuls to 16, then 4 rounds of single elimination to determine first and second, plus 1 match for third place. But 2 Backgammon specific tweaks caught my eye. First, in the Swiss we played 7-point matches, but it was a 9-point match, 11, 11 and 13 in the elimination stage. And in addition, the selection of the top 16 was based both on wins and total points, so it was tense all the way through. In this tournament, 3 players ended up with 3 wins and 28 points after the Swiss, so each rolled 1 die for the 16th spot. And you thought this 6-6 your opponent rolled to jump over your prime was cruel. Comparing tournament formats is an old rabbit, but I wanted to pull a new carrot, a more accurate way to model backgammon matches between unequal players. That took longer than I thought, but here I am, after releasing 3 videos which cover technical details such as ELO systems, rating players, and how skill difference affect win rates at different match lengths. You might want to check them out. It will definitely make it easier to cruise this one, but you will do just fine if you're willing to Google a technical term or two on the way. So let's go. A tournament can't start without players. Each player is characterized by a single number, her ELO rating, a number between 1400 and 1600. Hold on Galaxy fans. I'm using the chess factor of 400, so it's more like 2000 to 3000 on Galaxy. Plenty of room for everyone. 200 ELO is equivalent to 76% win rate, which is high enough for 1-point matches. The ELO value of each player gets drawn from a normal distribution with mean 1500 and a standard deviation of 40, like so. Most players are between 1450 and 1550, mixed with a few weak and strong players. Let's put our players into action. But before diving into the Swiss C, it would be instructive to see how they do in round robin, the first format, and in elimination, the cruelest one. For that I ran 50,000 round robin tournaments, where everybody plays everybody, 63 7-point matches per player, each worth 1 point for the winner. This figure shows the probability each player wins the tournament. The highest ranking player takes the biscuit 5 times out of 9, and one of the top 3 players wins 3 times out of 4. This is the breakdown for the second place. The top player gets there 20% of the time. And here is the third place breakdown. I'm sure you'll be pleased to know that I, just like you, struggled to merge those 3 figures into one coherent mental picture. But I worked very hard to generate them, so I'm not taking them out. But damn, they are so confusing. So how about putting an explicit monetary value on each place? Let's say first place gets 500, second 300, and third 200. I'm not claiming it's the best way to split the prize pool, but it's hard to know what is. 3 prizes for 64 entrants is not ideal, especially for backgammon. 5 or 6 would be better, but this is what my tournament had, so we'll stick with that. It's not that crucial. What's important is to have one value per player, a monetary reward which is easy to understand and compare across formats. And the expected win amount is a natural choice. Much better than 3 confusing values. So in this particular case, the top ranked player gets on average 304 zloty. And here's a graph showing the expected win amount for all players. And now we can draw the break-even line. Assuming, in a sort of naive way, that all entry fees go into the prize pool, each entrant pays 16 zloty to enter, and players around 1540 break even. So roughly, in round robin, the top 15% of the playing field are in the money. This shouldn't stop you. Money isn't everything. You don't go skiing or to a show to make money. You just want a decent bang for your buck. And if you like the game and the entry fee is reasonable, it's a good bang. So, bang we go to single elimination. I ran 50,000 single elimination tournaments for the exact same players, matching the Swiss format match lengths. That is, the first two rounds are to 7, then 9, 11, 11 and 13. Other than that, it's just random initial pairing and off they go. The payout for the top players, as expected, is much lower. The top player gets 100 instead of 300. The break-even point did not drop by a lot, to 1525. But the curve has a different shape. In round robin, it was flat until 1540 and rose sharply from there. In elimination, it has a somewhat gentler slope, more money and more chances for intermediate players. And it's time for Swiss. The Swiss, as you probably know, starts with random pairing. And then winners get matched with winners and losers with losers. Or more precisely, players with the same number of wins get matched, assuming they hadn't played before. 5 rounds of Swiss in Kiwi land, then the top 16 advance to the playoffs. Care to guess where this Swiss sits between round robin and elimination? I couldn't, and was actually quite surprised to learn it's not that different from single elimination. The two are almost identical, except for the top 4 players in this particular 64 players field. Was I expecting too much? After all, it is true that the winner in this Swiss elimination combo plays 9 matches, 3 more than single elimination. But it's still far less than the 63 in round robin. Not enough to create serious separation. But wait a minute, I hear you say. This is just one specific set of players out of countless others. Very true, very true. So here is a graph obtained from 200,000 different tournaments, each with its own set of 64 random players. Here, the reward for each player is the average outcome from many tournaments, each having a different mix of players, but always drawn from the same normal distribution. As you can see, the difference starts to show at about 1550, and since in a group of 64 there are 6 or 7 players above 1550, the Swiss makes a difference, a money-wise difference, to the top 10%. But the effect is not large, about 20% more money to the 1600 ELO player. Please note that I intentionally avoid exact numbers. They are available from the runs, but the simulations rely on many assumptions, and I'd rather not commit to precise numbers. They certainly look impressive, but not scientifically meaningful. The Kiwi Swiss is just one variant of the Swiss, and now that we have the basic machinery, it's possible to add other formats to the mix. Take the Sydney 3 strikes and you're out. It's a Swiss, that is, players get matched with same score players they did not play before, but get eliminated after 3 losses. The last 2 or 3 players enter a playoff based on number of wins and total points. I run this format as well, and here is the result in Lime. Again, the break-even point is very similar, but the payout for the top players is significantly better, about 30% more than the Kiwi Swiss. And since the Aussie format usually lasts 11 rounds, only 2 more than the Kiwi, it's probably a better format for the stronger players. It's also important to mention that I framed the results in terms of money, but ignore the time is money angle. When we adjust for time, the experts makes very little per hour in round robin. 300 divided by 63 is only 5. 100 divided by 9 is 11. So the Kiwi Swiss is twice as profitable. And single elimination is even slightly more profitable at 13. So the expert, all other things being equal, should prefer shorter formats. But things are not equal. There's practical issues and there's psychology. I went to the tournament knowing I'm guaranteed 5 rounds of play against my peers. It's fine to lose the first match and go do the dishes when you play at home, but not acceptable after you drive across the bridge to sit in a hole full of airborne bugs. So I needed that guarantee to get me there. And when a tournament is funded by punters like me, the organizers need to make it enticing, and single elimination is not an enticing main course. Swiss is more appealing. It's a great middle ground between the harsh single elimination and the impractical round robin. The details might make a difference for the top players, but for intermediates like me, it hardly matters which 9 or 11 round tournament it is. So, climate and pandemics permitting, I'm definitely going back next year. See you there.